Starting off from my far right, the man who calls himself the Peacemaker. Some call him the Also-Ran. Ledama Olekina, all the way from Narok County, is in the house. The man in the middle, he calls himself Cord Damu. And yes, he speaks it each time. Member of Parliament for Kibra, Mheshimiwa Kenneth Okoth. Man right next to me calls himself Jubilee Damu, depending on what day of the week. Founder, CEO of Change Associates, the man always has a column every Monday in the Star, and he speaks it without fear of favor despite the haters out there. Twitter handles at Ledama, at Okoth Ken, at Ngunjiri Wambungu, and my Twitter handle is at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag we're using tonight, as always on Wednesdays, is the same thing: State of the Nation. Sit back, start tweeting. Gentlemen, welcome live to the Villa Rosa Kempinski. Before I forget, that's where we are now, gentlemen. Thank you for coming to the Villa Rosa.
Thank you.
Lovely place.
What do you think, man? Not bad,
Lovely,
huh?
lovely.
A little different.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the other place was full, WTO.
Yes. We've got guys in town.
Yes.
7,000 people.
I was about to say that. Speaking of WTO, first time in Africa all these years, 7,000 plus delegates. Mheshimiwa, your thoughts? Kenya is in the spotlight now.
I think to give compliments to the government of Uhuru Kenyatta, some of the women he has put in leadership, like Ambassador Amina, are very impressive. We've got Barack Obama came here for the Global Summit on Entrepreneurship. The Pope has been here. Maybe Cameron will come. Trying to repair those relations and open those, it seemed we were drifting out to the east and losing our traditional partners. Now the WTO here, it's great in many ways. It puts Kenya on the international spotlight. But I hope that we are not just hosting for the sake of hosting and that credit to check a box. What is the content of the agreement? Will the trade agreements going forward be favorable? Will we have trade and freedom of movement for our young people who are unemployed? This is a Jubilee policy. Can young people out of these trade agreements in Nairobi get faster and freer access to move and take their skills to the global markets? So I hope we will actually engage on the substance of it in a way that favors Africa and a way that favors Kenya so that everyone benefits. Can we export our things easily? Can they reduce the tariffs and the barriers that they're putting to our trade?
Yeah, Mheshimiwa, hold that thought. Ngunjiri, did Mheshimiwa just praise the government of Uhuru Kenyatta?
I'm still recovering. I mean, this has certainly been a good year. It's certainly been a good year. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's more to come.
I'm just going to sit here and just be part of the furniture.
And just revel in that. Yes.
Just enjoy this moment.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Very rare.
It's rare, but I guess it's because it's Christmas next week. Well done, Mheshimiwa. And these are the kind of this is a generation of leaders we want to see in court. People who are actually able to see beyond the politics.
And they can criticize when things are going wrong, but praise when praise is due.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Ledama, what do you think?
No, I think he's rightly saying it. And it's the only thing that saddens me is that we've allowed the Pope, Barack Obama, to come and remind us of the things that we know that we should be doing right. So I have no problem with giving credit where it's due. But I think we have to look back and say, why are we reminded all these things? As we look back in 2015, I have to say it was a disastrous year for Jubilee.
How now?
Let me put it this way.
Okay.
April 4th, 148 Kenyans died. Garissa attack. Okay? The president declared an executive order number 6 of 2015, almost coming short of declaring corruption a national disaster. The biggest fall, 6 cabinet secretaries out of a cabinet and not coming back. So really, for me, I have nothing to celebrate. I think 2015 was a disaster for Jubilee, and I think the president needs to look at 2015 and learn from it, so that we don't make the same mistakes. We don't need Barack Obama coming to Kenya to remind us. We don't need the Pope to come to Kenya to remind us of our mistake. Look at the economy, my friend. I mean, the dollar hitting about 110 shillings. We are borrowing from within and trying to collapse the whole market. We are killing local industries, and you're telling me that I have something to celebrate about the Jubilee government? No, I don't.
I think this guy is swapped.
Mheshimiwa, I know you're raring to say something, but Ngunjiri.
I think this guy is swapped.
Why? No. I tell you,
This guy is not
That's
speaking
Kenneth
like,
Okoth there.
yeah, I think this Kenneth Okoth over there. And this is, but anyway, let me explain a couple of things. First and foremost, what happened? The 147 people who died, 152. You cannot say that was a bad thing for Jubilee. That was a bad thing for Kenya. It was a bad moment
But
for
who
Kenya.
is
And let me
leading
explain
the
something.
government?
Let me explain something. When 911 happened in America, they did not say it was a bad moment for the Republicans. That's a problem. That's the one thing we must get away from. When people are killed by terrorists, those guys didn't come to kill Jubilee people. You know, and terrorism is something that is hurting the country, and not just us. It's hurting the Ugandans. It's become a global problem. I think it's important for us to move away from looking at it as if it was a Jubilee. I assure you, the people who died were not all Jubilee people, so we can't say it was a bad year for Jubilee. Let's talk about corruption. I know we have had. CORD has been having a ball, saying the way this year has been bad for Jubilee in terms of corruption and how they've been shown to be corrupt. But let's be also honest. This is a year when we have actually seen a president take action on corruption. When you talk about 6 cabinet ministers falling on the wayside, he fired them. When you talk about he fired 6 cabinet secretaries at one go, he fired PSs, multiple PSs. He changed, when you talk about security, he changed the entire security system from the police commissioner to the CS. These are things we're not talking about. We have actually seen a president take action on corruption, literally take it head on and become a champion of corruption. Let me finish. Last point.
Yeah.
Corruption is something everybody is scared, especially when you're president, because it's corruption cartels run politics, and you're scared of being able to take them head on. This guy has actually done it. He has done everything he can according to the law.
Okay, hold on, and I'll get back to you in a second. Mheshimiwa, 6 cabinet ministers suspended since April. I think it was April or February. It was back then. But still earning salaries. Did that make sense? Still having bodyguards, still having their
But
perks.
is that really a fact?
Yes.
Are they still? Is that really a fact?
Wait, Ledama, this is what they need to come clean on, because if you're a cabinet secretary, I can understand a high-level cabinet secretary, you poach them from the private sector, Barclays Bank, you poached them from another international organization, a professor at a university in the US to come be a cabinet secretary. When you're letting them out, you might negotiate an exit package, 1, 2, or 3 salaries. That makes sense. But when you had Cabinet Secretary Olekina, Cabinet Secretary without portfolio after he was moved out of the security portfolio, was still earning his pay. Kazungu Kambi, Ngelu, they were still earning their pay. The question we want to know is, did they negotiate contracts up to the end of 2017, the election time, or are their contracts actually fair? That is a fair question to ask, and the government needs to come clean. They've been evading it. A few media outlets have mentioned it. We've brought up the question. We still haven't gotten there. So the question straight is to SCP Sue Itumbi and the team at Status. Tell us, what are the terms for all the cabinet secretaries who've gone out, the new ones who are coming? What contracts do you have with them? When they're not serving at the pleasure of the president, do they still get to benefit from our taxes? That is a fair question to ask.
Let me just respond first to Ngunjiri, because I think it is not the president who acted. It is KOT. You know, Kenyans went crazy. Kenyans on Twitter, they all said, enough is enough. Okay? The president himself declared, he said, you know, corruption. My office is leading in corruption. He said that. The Speaker of the National Assembly also admitted that corruption is massive in the National Assembly. The Chief Justice, Willie Mutunga, also admitted. But then they waited for them to be pushed to act. You know, I mean, if this president was serious about corruption, Kenyans would kneel down to vote for him a second time.
Okay, what do you want him to do? I know I'm not supposed to be asking questions. I know I'm not supposed to be asking questions. But I'm actually, every time I hear that, I want to ask, what is it that he can do that he's not doing?
Let me answer him first, and then I'll answer your issue. I think anytime you want to invest in anything, you've got to carry out due diligence. Okay? This president, his advisors, to me, appear like they never carried any due diligence. Okay, that is number one. Number two, you also have to, when people come to you and complain, don't just give them empty promises that you're going to act. You know, move really quick. You know, I know the Constitution does not nullify the actions of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, but Kenyans expect to have a full commission
Well, they have one. These guys passed the commissioners.
They just did it now.
Yep.
Okay? But it took ages for them to do it.
All right.
And now, coming to your issue about cabinet secretaries earning salaries and already been fired, I actually don't think that is a fact, because I know one cabinet secretary very well who was fired, okay, or who was dropped out from the cabinet. And 2 weeks later, all his security, all his cars were all taken back. So I don't think that is actually a fact.
You disagree? Okay, gentlemen. I want to continue with this conversation, but we have about a minute to go before the break, and I promised to say this at the start of the show, and I actually forgot, but I'm going to say it right now. I want to dedicate this show, with your permission. I'd like to dedicate this program today to a wonderful colleague of ours who passed away 2 days ago. A great husband, a wonderful father, a fantastic colleague, a great Kenyan, Ahmed Darwash, KTN presenter who passed away. And gentlemen, your thoughts, just as we go into break. Ledama, starting with you, your thoughts?
We'll greatly miss him.
Yeah.
He was a fantastic brain, and every time we turn on KTN, if we don't see him, we'll see that there's always something missing. But the reality is this: none of us are getting out of here alive. We have to accept it and move on. But I pray for his family that God will protect him, and it is also a big learning experience for us that we need to always remember each other, not only in terms of where we're sad, but even when we are celebrating. May God rest his soul.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa.
One of my favorite subjects in school, from primary school to secondary school, was Kiswahili language and literature. I did well in it. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't speak it very well, si mdomo changu, but it was always a pleasure to watch Darwish, and to me what he leaves behind is a kindness, a civility, a generosity of spirit in which he carried himself. And I hope that we would see that in all spheres of our lives, in the media, in the entertainment industry, in our political life. Let us treat each other with kindness, civility, and generosity of spirit. Even when we disagree and we are fighting for the best ideas to show how we can move this Kenya forward, this country we love, that we don't have a spare part for. Let us fix it, and let us do it in a way that we're not tearing each other apart.
Indeed. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Ngunjiri.
What I remember about Darwish is that every time I saw him, he had this, you sensed a guy who was humble. Humility, you could actually see it in him. And that's something I'm not going to forget. You media folks tend not to be very humble. And so it was amazing to actually see a humble guy. And I pray that God would give his family peace. And I pray that we will remember, he was a young guy. And sometimes when we are at that age, we imagine we're not going to go away soon. That you can actually go away at any time. Yeah. So that as you leave, as you do what you're doing, remember that you, as Ledama said, where nobody's going to leave this place alive. Just make sure that you leave something behind. You want people to be saying the kind of things we're saying about Darwish, about you when you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Gentlemen, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Rest in peace, Ahmed Darwish, a great guy, wonderful Kenyan husband, father, and I hope many more will emulate him down the line. We're going to take a break, gentlemen, come back and continue this conversation because it's important. It's important that we talk, and I always keep saying the moment we stop talking is the moment we start fighting. So let's take a break. Keep tweeting at Ledama, at Okoth Kenneth, at Ngunjiri Wambungu, at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag State of the Nation. State of the Nation coming up in a short while. Jeff Koinange Live takes a break. We are live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski. What a setting! Oh my!
My.
Back in a moment.